What's going on, fragrance family? Welcome to the Rosewood channel. I'm your host, Mark. Today we are doing Thursdays, taking a test drive, and we are going to take a test drive on the brand of Atkinsons, and this is the one that I blind bought from them. My very first bottle from the brand, my only bottle from the brand. I kind of got burnt on this blind buy, and I'm going to explain to you a little bit. But this one called Pirates Grand Reserve. Doesn't that sound sexy? Now go look, pause the video, go look at the note breakdown on this thing and come back. Man, I blind bought this back in 2019, and I blind bought it. And again, with my experience, you think, you know, I get more hits than misses, but this one, I was just so in love with the presentation, the name, and the note breakdown. I had no prior knowledge of who the nose was. I could not find it. I don't have much experience with the brand, and this is where blind buys can bite you in the butt. I'm usually really good. If I know who the nose is and the brand and their track record and everything with the notes, I'm good. I unboxed this back in 2019, and I was clearly disappointed in the video saying that this was a heliotrope heavy release in at the initial, right? The top note was just heliotrope. So to anyone that does not know what heliotrope smells like, it's the complete opposite of what you would expect from a fragrance called Pirates Grand Reserve. You would think more rum based, being in the note breakdown. You would think the rum would be the central note in this release. Heliotrope smells like sweet. It's a floral, of course. It has a lot of sweetness. It has touches of almond. It does have some woody aspects in the end of it, but it's heavily powdery when it's matched with other notes, and it has that talcum powder kind of smell. So here we are 4 years later from that unboxing. Finally, Atkinsons does get a standalone video on my channel. Let's see how Pirates Grand Reserve does on my skin. Now that I wore it for several days, does the story get any better with Pirates Grand Reserve? Let's go under the hood. Let's take a look at some stats on this one. It was released back in 2017, so it has some years behind it now. Still could not find the nose behind it. Hey, if anybody in the fragrance community is watching this, you can attach a nose down in the comments below. The major notes to my nose. So I was not wrong. Heliotrope is huge in this release, and it will stay throughout the release to varying degrees. Up top, it's very shocking how much heliotrope you're getting. Vanilla is a secondary note, and cacao is a secondary note. So as you can tell, this fragrance, first of all, where's the rum in this major note breakdown? It's there, but it's not major. It's more of a gourmand fragrance than anything, and we're going to get into that. PGR, short for Pirates Grand Reserve, I'm going to say that a few times in this video, is my scent of the day today, but I'm going to remind myself of this introduction, the heliotrope heavy introduction. But it does get a little better in the back end of this release, so let's get into this introduction. And yeah, it's very, I don't know, like they really miss the imagery here, personally. So you're getting a huge powdery heliotrope note here, which isn't what you think of when you think of pirates, nor the booze they carry on board. I'm not the only one fooled in the search of gold, pun intended, because a lot of us that blind bought this was thinking rum heavy. You know, there's a lot of great notes in this release that you would think it would be, you know, there's patchouli, so there could be some darkness in here. It's not. It's very light up top. The heliotrope does greet you with other like little nuances of darker notes, but it's your primary note here, and it will continue to be your primary note throughout. However, it does come down a few notches throughout this release. So it has its ups and downs, but it's definitely your primary note in this release. The heliotrope here is excellent though. So if you're looking at a really good heliotrope note, you're gonna find it here. It shows all aspects of the note. You will get that talcum powder note. You're gonna get that lipsticky like sweetness. You'll also get that almond like appeal in this release. More into the dry down, you're gonna smell that nuttiness from the heliotrope, but you're also gonna get some of the woody aspects that heliotrope does give, some woody undertones more into the back end of this scent. It's a versatile, well-constructed note, honestly, but not here, not now. Damn it, Atkinsons, what are you doing? I wanted a dirty pirate spilled rum kind of thing. You had one job to do and you didn't do it. This is too clean. It's too it's too heliotrope heavy. It would be nice if it was a back end note. It is not. It is a primary note in this release. Now, after this huge rant of me saying this, yes, it starts backing up a little bit in this introduction. The heliotrope finally kind of calms down here, shows the darker edges of PGR, but again, not as dark as I wanted it, not as thick as I wanted, not as bombastic as I wanted. You do get rum in here. It's a secondary note, but it makes you wanting more. It really does. You also get a vanillic quality in this release, which works really well with the heliotrope, and it does aid to the sweetness of this scent, but the vanilla isn't huge or booming. It is just the right amount of vanilla, and it does share the spotlight with the rum and the heliotrope themselves. Now, the cacao note comes in, cacao bean. It plays well with the other notes as well, so it's not a bad release per se, it's just bad as per the imagery. So the cacao note gives it more of a gourmand facet. Like right away, once that note is introduced, you got the vanillic tendencies, you got the almond-like heliotrope, and you got the vanilla and the cacao. All that mixed together makes this more of a gourmand than anything. The rum itself, yeah, it goes into the gourmand territory too, but it's very minimal. And I don't know. I think that if they would have left out either the vanilla or the cacao note in this release, it would have been better as far as the imagery goes. Maybe giving the rum more of a secondary place in this release, if that makes sense, to give it more of a spotlight than anything. The rum really gets overshadowed by the heliotrope, the cacao, the vanilla. They really do take over, envelop. Even though the heliotrope's like, okay, everybody, now you can work with me. The other notes, the cacao and the vanilla just go, like the rum's like right here, boom, vanilla and cacao, just forget about it. There was a slight leathery touch in this release that I really liked. Leather's not listed in the note breakdown either, but I think it's a combination of the notes coming in, of course, the heliotrope, the almond-like, and other notes coming in. It's not dark, it's not smoky, it's more suede-like, but it really was, and I can smell it now. It's a really good addition to this release, and it really kind of helps out that darker tone that I really wanted. Like, go. It never went. Also in this opening, you get a slight touch of cardamom that aids the rum in the background, giving it slight green tendencies and also more sweetness to the fragrance. Now, moving into the dry down of this release, the scent mellows, and the heliotrope still is front and center, shares the main event with the vanilla and the cacao, and now it's more even. Like I said earlier in the review, the almond quality comes up from the flower, and the powdery talc continues to push. You get a little woody aspect here, which is welcomed as an addition, as it smells like cedar planks on the ship. There's a little bit of green nuances here from a patchouli note that gives it a slight, and I mean slight, earthy quality. So there is some interesting parts behind everything else, if you know what I mean. It really is a lot of gourmand facets, and that heliotrope, it really is more overpowering to the more interesting notes in the back end. It almost feels like the pirate ship is far away and you're closer to something much cleaner. Now the cacao goes a little stronger here, mixes well with the powder from the heliotrope, almost giving this a powdered chocolate effect. I do enjoy that the fragrance warms up a bit here into the dry down, gives the scent a much needed boost into the darker tones. But overall it's a letdown as it comes off smoother than what I really wanted. I wanted a dark, crazy pirate-like thing. Never got it. So overall, PGR didn't come out swinging out of the gate for me. The booze I was hoping for is really more of a single drop of rum. I was expecting a half-drunk pirate spilling half the bottle on me. I never got that. The imagery of a non-showered pirate also never came up because of the heavy heliotrope and vanilla. It smells like more of an English woman that was captured by the pirates. She's freshly showered, giving me a talky baby powder and vanillic aspects. The pirates also stole some chocolate from her, and a big bag is near me. So the rum is at the front of the boat while the lady and me are in the back. Honestly, the Pirates rocking the show would be a far more interesting fragrance than this, unfortunately. But at the end of the day, it is a well-balanced release. I felt like it was really well constructed. However, the imagery fell short. Now let's take a look at Seasons, Day Night Versatility and Performance. We'll start it off with Seasons. I feel like this fragrance, not dark enough to be a winter release for me, especially in these Canadian winters. You can still wear it, but I feel like fall and the start of spring would be the best seasons for this. Day or night, either way. Again, it's not dark or interesting enough to be more of a nighttime scent. You can wear it either. Or versatility, fairly average. I don't see any real limitations on this one. Performance. That is a talking point for me because you will get different reviews on this as far as performance goes. Longevity, weak. At least for, again, maybe I was expecting too much out of this release, but it only gave me 4 to 7 hours every single wearing as far as longevity goes. Sometimes it fell short a little bit. It was like around 4 or 5 hours. That's not good enough for this type of scent. Projection was below average. So again, fairly low. Again, I do want to wear it a lot more. This is not the full review of this release. It's only a test drive, but kind of disappointing in performance. So my final thoughts on Atkinsons Pirates Grand Reserve. My thoughts are that they missed the mark on the imagery I wanted by a really big long shot. However, if you're into powdery, heliotrope heavy scents, you're gonna like this. They nailed that note. The heliotrope is excellent in this release. It's actually really well done. I really enjoyed it. It plays well with the supporting role of cacao and vanilla. There is other nuances, darker nuances that are more in the back end of this release that really are kind of hidden. You're just like, please come out and play. No, they never did. So my whole disappointment in this release is mostly about what could have been with this marketing and the scent profile. What I think a fragrance reviewer should do is put all that noise away. Again, I've said my piece. I feel like the marketing and the scent profile don't mix. But putting away all that noise, and they should have named this Pirates Grand Heliotrope, honestly. Honestly, it is a good scent, but it's just not what I expected as far as the imagery of it. I feel like if you're into powdery scents, I really have to emphasize that because a lot of people, if you're looking at reviews, they're like, oh, rum, and they're just really talking about, I don't know. To me, it's there. And rum usually in fragrances as a note is mostly a top note. It really doesn't stay throughout a fragrance. And in here, it's really minimal. I have to emphasize that. So don't do the same mistake I did, thinking it's gonna be heavy rum. I think it's a small secondary note in this release as far as my nose is concerned. Now I'm done with Pirates Grand Reserve. Time for you to hit us up in the comments below. What do you think of this release? Do you agree with me? Is it actually, or is it big time rum for you? If it is for you, wow, you know, congratulations. I'd love to see those comments, different comments on this release. And as always, a great or poor fragrance will make a lasting impression. Choose your scent wisely. Thanks for watching, YouTube. Have a good one.